How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Gauntlet of Gaming, where these hands are rated E for everyone. My name is Malik.
I'm Francis.
I'm John.
Santiago.
And today we're going to be debriefing our feelings from the PS5 event that happened this Thursday. A lot of hype, a lot of disappointment. At the end of the day, kind of an underwhelming experience, but there's still a lot of great things to talk about, some not so great things to talk about, and some hopes for the future. We did get a glimpse into the future. The future is here now, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see as much of the future as we would have liked. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we do that, don't forget that this podcast, you're probably listening to it on YouTube. You're probably listening to it on Spotify. If you're listening to it anywhere else, God bless you. You are a gift. We do these podcasts every other week, and we will continue to give them to you every other week. Along with that, there are gameplay videos coming soon. We're going to have something that's not FF7 remake related, thank God. Feels like forever since we've had any other game really showcased on our YouTube channel, so stand by for that. That'll be coming soon. Most likely it'll be some Star Wars stuff. I know there was a video of John that's going to get uploaded soon that needs to be finished editing. And so yeah, we've got some stuff in the works coming through. We just need to actually get it through the pipe. We're on Facebook as usual, Instagram as usual, the Gauntlet of Gaming. Twitter is the only place where we're weird because it's the Gauntlet with a 4 instead of an A. All links are in the description of the YouTube videos. If you're on Spotify or anywhere else, we're sorry. In addition to links, we also have merch. So if you want to represent that Gauntlet of Gaming, if you want to be a member of the community, feel free to grab some merch and represent. It's zero profit. We make no money from it. So you're just paying for the product and being a member of the community. So with all that being said, our question of the day is, what are you excited for when it comes to the PS5? Like, you know, is it hardware, software, games, accessories? I know some people who are very excited about remotes. But, you know, it's just curiosity. What are you excited for? And if you're not excited for anything that's been currently showcased, what are you hoping for? You know, there's still things that weren't showed up, you know, at the event that we kind of hope we'll see in the future. So yeah, let us know that down in the comments below, or if you're on Spotify, email us. All right. So the way that this is going to work, what?
Do we have an email?
Yeah. Yeah, that's how everything works.
Gmail. Got
it. But what's it called? So yeah, this is how it's going to work. It's our podcast kind of don't have the same format as they used to, mostly because it depends on the topic, and that changes how we talk. This one will kind of be like that as well. We're going to talk about everything, every game that was brought up during the event. We'll either talk as much or as little as we want about it. There's no real clear structure of who talks about what. And yeah, we're going to actually start with something that I wanted to point out that was very irritating to me personally. And that's the unnecessary amount of load screens for the previews that we saw for a console that's supposed to tout having really fast loading.
Oh, you mean like the title sequences where it's going over the shapes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unnecessary
I felt
loading.
like they were perfect places for commercials that weren't there.
Or for me, it was just like, it felt like, so like with previous E3s, right? The whole meme of world premiere is an Xbox thing, because what happens is, you know, Microsoft would show up, they're like, now here's some of the games, world premiere, trailer plays, Xbox exclusive. Like they jump from game to game to game to game. And it just felt like there was so much like dead space. It was like, yeah, okay, these look kind of cool, but why? Like, why are you wasting this time?
Part of me thought that the reason those were input was because there were people streaming it like us, and that was like the perfect little window for like a streamer to give their opinion while not interrupting any of the film or anything like that, you know?
I mean, I get that, but also from a perspective of you go back and watch like the YouTube video of it, right?
Yeah,
that's a lot of
there.
It's a lot of dead space. And so it was just, and not to mention that the pre-show was like what, 40 minutes long?
Oh god.
Like that was a super long At the end of the day, it was an hour and 15-minute show that probably was actually more of like 45 minutes of games.
Mm,
But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I was just like, it's going to touch into a big aspect that I'm going to talk about towards the end when we kind of reflect over the overall aspect. But I was just like, it stood out to me, and I was like, but going into probably one of the first disappointing aspects, in my opinion, I would say, of the event, the PlayStation montage. What did y'all think about the PlayStation montage?
That was a montage.
Yeah, that's about
it showed pretty much everything we saw in the show, and I mean,
It was there.
minus a couple games.
yeah. It might, like, for me, and the funny thing about it is, and I don't know how many people will talk about this, but in the top left corner, it specifically said PS4. Like, for whatever reason, said PS4. And I was like, that's odd. Why would you show a montage of games and highlight the fact that it's PS4 stuff? Because some of those games that were on there weren't exclusive to the PS4. They were on the PS3. And so I was kind of disappointed because I saw this montage, and it's it starts off iconic, right? It starts off with the original PlayStation 1 with the PSX, logo and intro sound. And I was like, ooh.
I was like, chills, and then ooh.
And I was like, is this them saying that all of our years of work have culminated to this one moment? You can play your PlayStation games from every generation on PS5. And then it was like, nope.
It did kind of set that tone.
Right? And I'll talk about what I think in regards to compatibility next, actually. But I think that was like the first disappointment, was you set me up, and then it's the Chekhov's gun. You put the gun on the table. I was waiting for you to pull the trigger, and you never did. So I thought that was kind of the first disappointment. Did anyone else have anything about it?
Not really.
I just the 40 minutes is what got me. I was just like, oh man, this is dragging on. Like, I've heard the same setup for a long time now. It felt like they were trying to make it feel like it was live in person, and it really wasn't, was it?
No.
Like, this wasn't being shown to live audiences. Besides online, excuse me.
Which is funny because if you go back, you can't see the live chat for the actual event, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, so the disappointing montage aside, I wouldn't say this is disappointing, but I would say this is hopeful. GTA 5 announcement for the PS5.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, that one's not necessary.
Someone said it in our chat. It's becoming the Skyrim.
They're pulling a Bethesda.
Francis said that.
Yeah, it was you. Yeah,
they're totally milking it.
They definitely are milking it.
Yeah. Granted, I don't blame them.
No,
GTA Online makes a load of money. Why wouldn't you want to carry it over to the next gen?
Here's why. Bully 2.
I agree. No, I agree.
It's so overdue for a Bully 2.
I 100% agree. I feel like the funny thing is, there were a lot of people who I watched their reactions, and they were just like, "Oh, don't worry, guys. That's not even an announcement. That's just a trailer." And or not a trailer. They were like, "That's just an ad." And I was like, "Yeah, no, you're right. It's literally just an advertisement."
Yeah.
From the way the trailer was presented, it felt like it was literally just an ad. I could have saw that on live television, and would have just been like, "Oh, okay."
I'm sure you will.
Probably. Dude, it felt, or you know what it felt like? It felt like a YouTube ad.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I've definitely seen some of those clips before.
Did not need to be part of the presentation.
No.
That could have just been an afterthought announcement. Like, when they posted pictures of the console,
yeah,
they could have been like, oh, by the way, GTA 5 is going to be free for PS Plus members on PS5.
Yeah.
Right, that doesn't make sense. They already had that bundle with the PS4.
But you want to know what's funny?
But it's on the 5 now, Francis.
You want to know what's hilarious?
It's the same game.
It is. You're right. It is the same game. and this is where I actually find this to be optimism coming from this ad, because y'all remember GTA 5 was on the PS3.
Yep, that's right.
Oh yeah.
And then it came to the PS4.
That's right.
And then moved on to the PS5. I think GTA 5 is going to be the game, aside from one other game, I think GTA 5 is going to be the game that's going to hint at what Sony has been talking about. Not backwards compatibility, but Sony has been talking about a selection of great games from the PS4 will be coming to the PS5.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's them like hinting at it without actually saying it. The only thing though is it's like, okay, cool, you get it for free with PS Plus. What about all of our other games?
I was about to say, just like, but that is a list of games that they think are the greatest.
Yeah.
It could not be the greatest in our opinion, but it's the greatest in theirs because it probably sold well.
Hey,
so
Knack 2 was a great
Skyrim again. We may see Skyrim again on the PS5.
We'll absolutely see Skyrim.
Almost definitely. If we, here's the thing.
Do not doubt it.
Actually,
Resident Evil 4.
You know what? Let's not even talk about Skyrim yet, because there's something that's good. There's a discussion piece that's going to come up that's going to have us talk about Skyrim, and we'll save that towards the end. So we'll go from slight optimism and still disappointment to probably one of the hypest things that they showed too early, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that was way too early.
And that's Spider-Man Miles Morales.
That was just to grab your attention, probably.
It grabbed my attention.
I'm listening now.
It took the internet by storm because everyone was like, wait, I need information. Is this a sequel? Is it an expansion? Is it a sequel? Is it an expansion? What's going on here? I don't care. It's Spider-Man. It's Miles Morales. I want it. Give it to me. And
they opened it with something super hype, and then nothing really matched that hype.
Precise. Well,
for me.
I think something matched it. It just was awkward. And I'll talk about the awkwardness of where they place certain games. I think what the hype wasn't even just that it was Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's that it's coming holiday 2020. And that means that they're like shipping, if this is a sequel, which I'm hearing conflicting things about, it's a sequel, it's an expansion, it's a sequel, it's an expansion. I really don't care. What I care about is the fact that I may be able to play this game at launch. And I love Spider-Man 2018.
No, I think it'll be one of those games that you'll play at launch.
Yeah, like we just finished beating the story mode. We just platinumed the game. Starting on Monday, we're going to be playing through the 3 DLC. And I'm like, it takes a lot to motivate me to want to do this kind of achievement for a game. And to tell me that I now get to do that same thing with the same mechanics that felt good in the first one, but with my favorite Spider-Man character, yeah, I'm punked. You got me. I'm in. But I could talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales literally ad nauseum and make this podcast 3 hours long.
That was a good trailer for it too.
I don't think I've ever screamed so loud over a video game.
I had to mute the stream for a bit because I knew you were yelling.
Yeah, I don't think
you guys heard on stream, but like me and Link started shouting. I shouted so loud that my mom got worried and barged into my room in the middle of the stream, even though I told her we were gonna be streaming this.
So funny.
Oh man. At least your mom cares. My family was just like, he's just being a geek.
Oh, he's screaming again.
Yeah. So the next thing, I'd say this is hype. It's just not hype for us, and that's Gran Turismo is back.
Oh yeah, I thought that was a great. I thought that was really good thing. I watched the gameplay on that on IGN as well. That thing looked good.
Yeah, I was just like, this is the greatest Gran Turismo, and Gran Turismo 7 is one of those games where I was like, yes, it deserves to come back on the PS5. It's gonna look good. It's gonna run good. Like Xbox is like right now the king when it comes to racing games.
Forza.
Yeah, with Forza, they had the Crew a while back that wasn't well received. But Microsoft was taking racing and running with it. But for anyone who grew up with a PlayStation and you enjoyed racing games of different locales, you played Gran Turismo.
True.
So seeing Gran Turismo 7, I was just like, it looks so good. Dreams can come true.
My
Uh,
gripe was the map they showed. I wasn't about it.
I agree. Yeah, the whole it reminded me of like old school Need for Speed maps, and I was just like, ugh. Everything looked modern, good, and sleek, except for that menu map. But at the end of the day, as hyped as I am for it, I don't think I'm gonna play it.
I mean, that menu map, it's been like that for a long time, though.
It has, but it's like you have to modernize. You have to update. You got to find a new way to innovate. But at the end of the day, no one's playing it for the menu. They're playing it for the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see how people receive Gran Turismo 7 once it does make its way. But it's good. It shows that franchises that we thought long died and dusted can come back and look amazing. But can it play amazing is all. Speaking of back from the dead, Ratchet and Clank is back again.
I know, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, go for it. Talk about it.
It looked really good. Like, just the shooter part of it, it looked like a clear, more like detailed Ratchet and Clank.
Mhm.
I played the previous Ratchet and Clanks. It wasn't the game I was hoping to see, but it's a game that since we did talk about how older games from the PlayStation Sony series was coming back, it's Ratchet and Clank.
Mhm.
Just because it's one of those top talked about games because it's lived very long.
Mhm.
The game I truly wanted to see out of it was Jak and Daxter, which is a close tie with Ratchet and Clank in my opinion, or a little better. But Ratchet and Clank, seeing a Ratchet and Clank game on the newer gen is great in my opinion, and it looked good.
Yeah.
Like the warping and stuff like that, that looked awesome. And a new
Cool.
and a new main character and stuff like that. That looked cool too.
That one was the weird one for me. I was just like, wait, so we got someone's OC as like an alternative character?
Yeah. I saw that. I heard you say that. I was dying. Like, oh no! I was all like, oh no! But I truly think that they're gonna get separated, and Ratchet's gonna be alone for a very long time, and then have a kid, and that's the kid. That's the story I'm getting from that.
Interesting.
Was that Clank got sent into the future, and that's Ratchet's daughter, and we're gonna see a new series of Ratchet and Clank games
Mhm.
that aren't involved of Ratchet. It'll just be Clank and the newer character.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
I actually I like the robot arm on it was I can't tell female or male or gender, so I was just saying them.
Yeah.
I like the robot arm and the sort of the shoulder armor padding that Ratchet just needs.
Mhm.
He needs armor, in my opinion. Like there was one Ratchet and Clank game where he had armor, and
I think that was Full Frontal Assault.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it looked good.
Mhm.
I just wish they kept it on, but he's wearing overalls again. So
Yeah. Yeah, and like the thing with the new character, and I mean she was there for they were there for just a second. And it's like, for all we know, they could literally just be either like a few set of missions type of deal, or like a companion character. But
yeah.
Overall, though, I was like, two things stood out to me. One, this game looks almost as good as the movie, and I was like, Insomniac's putting in work. They're taking full advantage of the PS5, because also with like the warping between the gates, the wormholes. I mean, the way that it looks just looks clean.
Yeah.
They're taking full advantage of that hardware. But it's also crazy because aside from the 2016 game, which I mean that's 4 years ago, and the 2016 game was a game for the movie. So if you disregard that, we haven't had an original Ratchet and Clank game since 2013. So, and that was on the PS3. The PS4 didn't have an original Ratchet and Clank game aside from the movie tie-in. So this is big. Like, I'm not a big Ratchet and Clank fan anymore, but yeah, this is big.
Yeah, I will say it made it look like a Disney movie graphic type of thing.
Right? Yeah. It's bringing film quality to video games. But yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was noticing with the specs of it, but we won't get into that right now.
that is a Ratchet and Clank podcast. So I would say that those were 3 hype games back to back. You know, for each genre of person, you got your geek who really likes the Spider-Man game that's coming out, or literally anyone who played the PlayStation game, geek or not. You have your racing fan who finally gets their PlayStation racing game they've been waiting for. And then you get your classic Sony fan who's getting that original characters actually, the original duo coming back.
There was another classic that was dropped.
Yeah.
I think that's later in the list.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about that.
And we'll talk about that, yeah. But for the first 3, those were pretty good. Those were pretty hype.
Yeah.
And then you get into the more disappointment. So now there's Project Athia. Athia? We don't know how it's pronounced.
I think it's Athia.
I think it is as well.
I forgot that was a thing. I completely forgot about that.
That was the Square Enix debut one.
Yes.
That was a shocking for Square Enix for me.
Most definitely.
I was just like, I didn't think Square Enix would go this way.
Because for me, it's like, okay, Square going with a new IP. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But the name of it is Project Athia. Now, if that's the name of the game, okay, you got me. But it sounds like the working title is Project Athia. And I'm like, Square, I don't think this is the thing people wanted to hear from you right now. Like, I think it was poor timing. I don't think Athia was something that needed to be talked about during the PS5 event. I think this would have been a great time for Square to be like, we're so grateful and thankful for everyone who enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake. You know, we're glad that you all are experiencing the journey, and some of you for the first time, with our merry crew of Avalanche and others. And, you know, this would have been a great opportunity to say, Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to the PS5. Like, there you go. There's your Square Enix little mic drop. That hype would have been like, alright, we're done. We're done. Playing Final Fantasy with even higher graphic fidelity? We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But Project Athia, it didn't show anything, in my opinion, that made it look interesting.
Wait, which one was that again?
It was the one with the lady who was running through what it looked like FF15, basically.
Yeah, you said it looked like a Final Fantasy.
Oh, the open world one?
It looked kind of like it, yeah. It looked like Final Fantasy when they showed gameplay, and it's funny, you can tell that was the only gameplay because it looked like Final Fantasy 15, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this game.
One thing that does interest me is that just from what they showed, it seems more like pure high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings kind of, and less the sci-fi fantasy they usually have.
That's true. So,
I could see that.
Yeah, we don't know. Now to a game we were actually talking funny enough about pre-stream, and we were making some jokes. Stray.
Oh yeah.
Also known as Santi's Mitten Simulator.
Hold on, I was thinking Midnight Simulator too.
Both of you have cats.
Simulator.
We love cats.
Catman Simulator.
It's Catman. Yeah, it's literally everyone's cat simulator except for mine. I'm just like, all right, I'll just watch you guys play it.
Malik's literally allergic to the game.
Yeah, can't play
Mine
it.
is a virtual cat.
I want to see some actual gameplay, but it looks really interesting. I like the idea of playing as a stray cat in this world inhabited by like robots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about the backpack as well. You said that on stream. I was just like, he's got a backpack, and I was just like, if your cat doesn't have a backpack, he's not cool. And I felt bad for my cat. She doesn't have a backpack.
I will say though. Oh, go ahead, Francis.
I think that's a way that a person is controlling the cat. I think the cat is actually like remote controlled.
Potentially, that's a good theory actually.
I was actually thinking of that game. It probably plays like that Little Nightmares game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking.
Ooh, that's a good thought too.
Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah, like it's funny because people make the joke like, "Oh, Cat Simulator," and I'm like, but you have to remember, there's a lot of great storytelling games that come from like one of the most recent ones that come to mind is what became of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, these games where you're basically walking, you're not really doing, you're not fighting, no combat or anything like that. But great storytelling can come from just interacting with the world. So I'm curious to see gameplay. Who knows? They could flip it on its head and show you that you have to fight mutant humans. You know.
Jokes on you. This is a DMC type game.
Yeah, exactly. The cat is
That was some
character action.
revolvers.
the cat becomes the new Amaterasu. There you go.
It's the Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy. But
Yeah.
it's a cat.
There you go. But funny enough, I still think that Stray didn't show the best cat in the event, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
There was another game that had a better cat.
There was.
So, funny enough, they kind of take this, and this is like such an awkward placement for this, but after Stray, they were just like, hey, by the way, here's some like information on the PS5 hardware and controller.
Yeah, so that's what I figured was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, they're teasing up to the console, but they included console information.
And it's like, if you're going to do a half-show teaser, that wasn't even halfway through the show.
Yeah.
It was so early.
It was really early. I thought the drop was awful, but the haptic technology, I did want to bring that up on the controller.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I mean, we already see it with the PS4.
Yeah.
But if we see a more enhanced, haptic is like starting to become big. And that's the sensitivity to like the environment of the game.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, you find that with Call of Duty now, every time you press a trigger, you feel a little bit of vibration. Or every time there's an explosion by you, your controller vibrates. That's just how it works. So, but a haptic situation with like a driving simulation, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
You feel every bump in the ground or every little bit that, you know, you're doing a like a jump or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. So it'd be interesting to see how it truly works.
Yeah. And we kind of talked about this too, because Santi brought up like, you know, what is haptic vibration, and we were talking about it. And Francis, you brought up a really good point where you were talking about, you know, how is this going to strain the battery life of a controller? Can you
that
turn
was
it
my
off?
main concern.
Yeah, because like for me, you brought up a really good example with like racing games. You know, being able to feel the bumps. If your car goes to the right, you feel more vibration on the right side than the left side.
Yeah.
And they also tote that they're bringing back like the dual access motion with the controller, and I'm like, those are fine and all, but look at the PS3 and PS4 era. How many games actually took advantage of that new tech you're putting in the controller? Why can we turn these features off? That's my question. Can we turn these features off? Because I don't want to be stuck with a feature I don't need. Like, I just want to play the game. And also, you have to think of it from an accessibility standpoint. Some people can, with two hands, use the main controller. But if they experience that vibration, it could trigger something that you don't want them to feel. And it's like, we need accessibility where you're able to choose whether, like, with the PlayStation 4, you can dim the light brightness. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I want to be able to have more control over stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up the design of the controller itself and how it feels like they took a big hint from the 360 controller, from the Xbox 360 controller.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm cool with that. I like it. I think that's like a step in the right direction. But this just made me laugh because my dad calls it. He says it looks like a boomerang. He's
my goodness!
You like the boomerang controller? And I was like, what are you talking about?
No, there was an actual, I believe it was Sony. There was an actual Sony boomerang controller for the PlayStation 3. Yeah, it didn't look good. If you guys haven't seen it before, you should go check it out. It is hilarious. It looked like something out of like Earthbound. But yeah, no, the controller definitely in the hardware specs and all that. I'm like, cool. You're basically just doing a tech trailer. Whatever. I will say the most hype thing to come from that though, USB-C 3. USB-C, I mean, not USB-C 3.
Yeah.
The fact that they're
Headphone jack.
and most definitely, yeah, and a headphone jack.
And the headphone jack.
Which they hopefully fix with this controller versus the PS4. Like my goodness. The fact that they're using USB-C is great because we're finally getting to a point in technology where everyone is realizing we need to be universal. Not only is it better power-wise, but it means that I don't have to go out and buy a specific cable for your controller because you do that.
Yep.
So I think that's a fantastic step in the right direction. And and I can't.
Hold on, quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Which one's USB-C?
USB-C.
That's the oval one for like Android phones.
Yeah, like
Not
modern Android. It's the one the Switch uses.
Yeah.
To like charge it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So basically, so long as your Switch adapter isn't outputting too much power, you could literally use your Switch charger for your PlayStation 5 controller.
Huh.
Which, if I remember correctly from the Xbox Series X controller, they still are using micro USB. But I'd have to go back and double check.
I think you're right.
Which feels bad because once that the great thing about USB-C is you also don't have to worry about the pincer of your USB micro USB getting messed up and not being usable anymore. USB-C it's just a slot. But yeah, that's another topic we can literally talk ad nauseum about, and it would just not be the end of the world. So the next game is Live Die Repeat, starring Captain Phasma. We're going to be talking about Returnal.
Returnal.
I'm really interested in this one.
I am too, and this was the closest game that looked like Mass Effect.
Interesting.
Oh,
That's not the
wow.
game I would use to describe it.
Well, I say that because of the way the suit looks,
Okay.
and also the gunplay.
Interesting. I think
And that was just from the trailer I watched.
I think for me, I refer to it being more it's Live Die Repeat or Edge of Tomorrow. That was the original name. It felt like Edge of Tomorrow met Prey. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like Prey and Edge of Tomorrow got together, said, Brienne of Tarth, we need you to star in this, and then said, there you go, there's the game. But it seems interesting.
What interests me the most about it is how it feels. The horror feels very like Lovecraftian horror.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm really into. Like, I'm not good with horror, but like I love like the whole Lovecraftian horror stuff. Like, I'm about it.
No, I am too. That's why because I did the Dead Space series stuff, and I enjoyed that. So I'm definitely interested in this game for sure.
Yeah, and I've got my eyes on it as well. I can't see myself playing it, but I definitely want to see other people play this game. And I'm curious in the story, you know? I've always been curious about resurrection stories and, like, what's the cause of it and things like that. So, this will be interesting. Alright, so, next, this is the big one that, I'm not hyped, but I know a lot of people are hyped. And that's Sackboy: A Big Adventure.
Woo!
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Woo!
I totally forgot about that one.
We're moving on from 2.5, guys.
Which
we
was
did it.
surprising. Max cracked me up because he was just like, Sackboy just killed Knack. Knack is dead. I was like, and I thought about it and I'm like, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
They literally said, hey, go back to the character that everyone loves, the old PlayStation mascot of Sackboy, and then just murder Knack and just make it Knack. I was like, all right, there you go. You keep your Knack fans, and you get back your
sweeping Knack under the rug.
Yeah, pretty much.
The introduction to Sackboy was pretty good because we're all like, "What is this cartoon? What is this cartoon tiger?"
Oh, yeah,
what is?" And then you see the zipper, and everybody's like,
yeah,
okay."
Like for me, it was the leg. I saw the leg, and I was just like, "That looks awkwardly like Sackboy's leg from PlayStation." Oh my gosh, it's a Sackboy game.
I saw it, and I went, "No way, they did it!" But I like how they changed the title. It's now a Sackboy Adventure instead of Little Big Planet. So that must mean that they're taking away the creativity part to the game, because that was the big thing about Little Big Planet was the moon. You can make your own games.
Yeah,
and that's the feature I think they're getting rid of with this game. I truly believe it because it's a Sackboy Adventure. It's not a Little Big Planet anymore.
And I would agree with that, except for the fact. What's up?
Well, what was the title again? Was it Sackboy Adventure?
Sackboy: A Big Adventure.
Yeah, Sackboy.
Really?
Big Adventures or something.
I think there could still be potential for creating environments because we've seen for years now, like since we were in middle school, that they are creating these games and these engines that allow people to like naturally create their own 3D spaces.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't necessarily say they're getting rid of it, but you can definitely feel that they're not putting an emphasis on it. They haven't showed any creation aspect in this game.
I think they'll definitely still have it. I think the point of calling it Sackboy Adventures is that there's really no need to call it Little Big Planet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody at this point knows who Sackboy is.
Yeah.
Fair point.
But yeah, it was interesting. But I feel like the make or break aspect is definitely in the creation part. Like,
yeah,
when they show gameplay, if it's literally just, you know, Super Mario Galaxy, but with Sackboy, I don't think it's gonna keep the audience that they were hoping to keep, because it's like, what's up?
There was a different game that looked like Super Mario Galaxy to me, and it didn't look like.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
but I definitely see why you compared it.
Yeah. So to a game that at first I wasn't hype about, but then somehow managed to get me hyped. Destruction All Stars.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
this actually looked really fun. Like once they got to the point where they showed like them being out of the car, running around and still being able to destroy vehicles or like take someone's vehicle, I was like, okay, you got me.
Yeah, no, I was not interested at all when it was just cars, and then you threw in the being a player, and I was just like, oh yeah, I could be a ninja. Cool.
Yeah, and I was like, that's great. I was like, it's taking aspects of a lot of games that people like. So it's taking that Twisted Metal, you know, Rocket League aspect and doing Destruction Derby. And I love it because the fact that, I've said this ad nauseum, but the one thing about Fortnite I love is the character like costumes and skins and stuff like that. It's very personal. Like, you can make who you want to be. Or purchase, I guess, who you want to be. And with this game, I feel like there's like also this environmental air of, play as yourself in a demolition derby. You know, whatever wacky character archetype you want. At least I hope so. I hope you can make your character. If I have to play as generic buff guy or kooky anime kawaii girl, I'm gonna be a little upset. Not that I'm not gonna play as kawaii. I'll definitely still play as kawaii girl, but I'm gonna be just a little more upset. But yeah, no, I thought it was cool. It was just disappointing that it was called Destruction All Stars, because I was like, that's not the All Stars game I want.
I know, I feel you. I heard All Stars. I was like, wait, you did what to me?
Yeah. I was just like, all right.
It's some cruel joke.
So it is. It's a pretty cool
Let's not
joke.
get into jokes yet.
This game isn't a joke, but this game looks interesting.
Oh,
the one we're about to talk about, it looks interesting, but it's definitely not something that I'm gonna play, and that's Kena Bridge of Spirits, also known as Asian Pikmin.
I said it, oh, it has a Pikmin mechanic.
Yeah, it's just it feels like a DreamWorks film with Pikmin.
Interesting.
And it at first when they started showing the trailer, it reminded me of the old Cameo games from Rare.
Yeah, you brought that up.
And I was just like, wait, do you get to use like the power of the spirits that you like fight/save and da-da-da? And it's like, nope. Little Pikmin.
Little Pikmin.
I don't just want to know more about the villain, like the villain's like lines in the beginning. I was like, okay. He's spitting.
Oh man. Yeah.
Santi, were you interested in this game?
A little. I don't think I'll play it, but like I honestly just want to know more about the villain, because like the villain feels very personal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a game I'm interested in. Not a game I'm interested in watching either. But I can't disregard the fact that it doesn't look good. I can't disregard the fact that it does look good. My bad.
No, it definitely looks good. I agree with that.
I'll watch somebody play it.
Now to a game that, in my honest opinion, had no place being in this presentation whatsoever. And if you're a fan of these type of games, you know, hey, more power to you, but it had no place in a PS5 event, and that's Goodbye Volcano High.
Oh yeah, the furry coming of age.
Yeah.
What's interesting to me was IGN did a thing on that game before the PlayStation announcement.
Well, yeah,
I
it's been
watched
talked about.
It's a big thing, apparently.
It felt so out of place.
It did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that the animated novel games, I forget what the actual name of the genre is called, but the novel game aesthetic, like, they all have the same aesthetic to them. They all have the same, feel. And I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm saying when you're talking about a piece of hardware that's supposed to push the limits of gaming and make the future of tomorrow today, this feels like an indie game that could have just been showed off as a separate, IGN GameSpot trailer. And
especially when before they showed all the games, they were like, this is all captured on PS5.
Yeah. I was like, man, I can play this on my cell phone. In fact, no, I'm calling it now. Goodbye Volcano High on all platforms, even the Switch. I'm like, you could play this on the Switch. If Nintendo showed this game, it'd be more acceptable. That's in their genre. That's in the type of thing that they do. But yeah, I was like, this is disappointing. This didn't need to be here. Be gone, thought. Again, I'm not crapping on people who enjoy games like that. I'm not saying you're not a gamer for enjoying them, but for a reveal of a hardware that's supposed to convince me to buy into the future of gaming, this game is not it for me, Chief. It's not it. Now, for a game that did hype up a lot of people and definitely came out of nowhere, Oddworld Soulstorm.
Let me tell you a thing. Oh my gosh, let me tell you about Oddworld. Oh my gosh, this came out completely out of left field for me. I was like, there hasn't been like a big Oddworld release since Munch's Odyssey on the original Xbox. And like, that is a big game. That is a super long game to get through. The interesting choice for me is that they made it like, it's like a side scroller now, but like it still looks so good. And
definitely.
And like, I really want to know about the story. At the end of the trailer, they show Abe finally cutting off like the threads that keep their mouth sewn shut, and I was like, wow, like that's a big thing. Like, for me, this is like definitely the most hyped thing for me.
Okay.
But
yeah, that one.
Yeah, I was just
look at it.
I was like, yeah. As soon as, because at first I saw the word Oddworld under I forget his name, who was talking about it, and I just paid no mind to it. I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait. And it started showing the game, and I was just like, Santi. Santi! So I was just like, alright, this is Santi's game. This is Santi's game of the show.
Yeah.
Munch's Odyssey, there's a game I grew up with.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the next game, though, Francis and I were hyped for it. Hyped? I don't know if hype would be the word.
Wait, I was as well.
We were curious.
Yeah, okay, so a few of us were curious, mildly hyped, and I feel like all of that was all misled. And that's Ghostwire Tokyo. Ghostwire Tokyo, in my opinion, was misleading in how they were trying to sell it to us at first, and this trailer kind of put me off of it for good.
Was it the first person?
I said, okay, so on stream I said it was because of the first person, but it's actually because it feels like Dishonored.
Yeah, that's what took me away from it as well.
Yeah. I was like, Dishonored in Tokyo? I'll pass. Like,
it's like a modern Dishonored, yeah.
Yeah, like for me, it's like, just because you put something in Japan doesn't mean that I'm immediately gonna play it, no matter what the genre is. Like, I'm not that type of person. But because it was like horror it seemed like horror in Japan, and I was like, ooh, are we gonna get into like yokai lore? And like, or is it like Resident Evil, but supernatural?
I didn't really get a Dishonored vibe from it because like it didn't seem like there was any stealth.
I was getting like BioShock vibes.
Or BioShock, yeah.
It feels more like BioShock because like there wasn't any stealth. Like there was a bunch of different yokai.
Yeah. Well,
and like I still think it looks interesting. I think I might try it.
I looked at, and it was like, for me, it was the gameplay. Like, Ghostwire Tokyo might have been the first horror game that I would willingly like actually put my life on and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna put my life on the line. I'm gonna play this game. It felt interesting, and then it just, you're right, like, I think Dishonored, because I think about the people who go around and like the aesthetic, the visual aesthetic of the game. But I was like,
there was another game that feels more like Dishonored.
exactly, and we'll talk about that one too. But I was like, this one also, yeah, it felt very Bioshocky in Tokyo, and I was just like, you lost me. I was hoping to be scared by this game, but it feels like it's less horror and more thriller. I would say, well, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not. It wasn't the game I was expecting.
Yeah.
Could still be fun.
Yeah, no, it most definitely could still be fun. And I know a lot of people who said that, like, it's not what I was expecting, but I'll still try it. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll watch them play it. I want to know the lore. Like, this is one of those games where it's like, tell me the lore. That's what I want. Give me the L word. But yeah, so I was kind of disappointed by Ghostwire Tokyo. I wouldn't say it was a disappointment, but on a personal level, I was disappointed.
Like I do get what you mean though. Like I was thinking like Resident Evil mechanic, third person, and not zombie.
Yeah.
I was thinking of third person.
I was pleasantly surprised by the gameplay because I don't like Resident Evil.
Yeah. I mean, for me, even if it was first person like Resident Evil 7, I would have still been okay with it because it's just like, how many horror games, because we see so many like Eldritch horror, we see a lot of Western horror, we see a lot of European horror, but how often do you actually get to experience like Japanese yokai horror? I was like, the closest you get to experiencing Japanese yokai in video games is Nioh or Onimusha. I think Onimusha had aspects of it, but it's mostly Nioh, and Nioh's a Soulsborne playing style game, so it's like, I'll pass. Now on to something that can still be hype, but was shown in a very disappointing way, and that's Godfall. Probably my most anticipated, behind Spider-Man, I would say one of my most anticipated games. In fact, no, on our last podcast, I did say that this was the most anticipated thing for me, was Godfall. And the way they presented it felt so poor.
Yeah. As Francis said something.
Trailer.
What was it?
It was a very Gearboxy trailer.
It was.
Yeah. Francis said in chat that it was gameplay, and we hadn't seen gameplay yet. And I kind of agree. We saw a trailer for it, but we didn't see gameplay. And I think they were showing some gameplay of it being worked on. And I kind of like it. I thought it was weird to market it like that, because you're trying. Once again, the purpose of this was to market the PS5 and to me getting the PS5 for this game.
Yeah, and
it that didn't do it for me. But it was cool that they threw in gameplay so I could see it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm hyped for the game. I really am. I wanted to see gameplay. And then I saw gameplay, but it was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like the music they used for the trailer didn't really work, especially for the theme of the game. The music was a bad choice.
The music didn't. It was a bad touch.
Yeah, it felt like.
And for what they're marketing as a looter slasher, to show absolutely no loot whatsoever.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. It's just the whole composition of it. It felt like they were just showing something to show something. Because the thing about it is they showed you're right, there was gameplay, and I tried to watch the gameplay through the music, and it looked clean, but what was interesting was you saw no UI, you saw nothing drop, you saw, like, it didn't even feel like, to me, it felt like Gearbox was just doing what was safe and comfortable, and not what was needed to be done.
Truth.
Because it's like, all right, well, they're just like, everyone wants to see gameplay, so let's just mix it up like we do with everything else, you know? The thing for me is Godfall felt like it was going to be more taken seriously than Borderlands, but the trailer makes it seem like the complete opposite. And I'm like, I don't vibe with that. The very first teaser they showed made it seem very serious. Now, if the very first teaser was to have music like that, it would be viewed as a completely different game.
Yep.
I think this trailer was more just on Gearbox's fault because they're publishing it.
Yeah.
Not developing it.
That's true.
I don't think they communicated the vibe and the I guess the atmosphere of the game well at all.
Yeah. So poor.
Because from the way the world's designed, I think it's going to be serious. Like it doesn't look like a silly looter.
Yeah. But we'll just have to wait and see. It was one of those games where I was like, this is very underwhelming and disappointing. But the disappointment didn't stop my hype for the game. because I'm hanging on to it.
I still quite haven't figured out what kind of gameplay it is. Like, is it PvP, PvE?
It's PvE.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
I haven't read much about it, but I was definitely hyped for that to be shown on the PS5, but not like that.
Yeah, it's Borderlands but with blades. So you play with your 4 friends.
I'm definitely interested in the weaponry. I want to see more. I really want to see more.
Dude,
the fighting, the dual blades. I was just like, Malik just cried a little bit.
No, I want Scythe. That's what I want.
I saw the sword and shield, and I sort of vibrated a little. I was like, huh, I want that. But
the glaive thing, I was like, oh my.
Yeah. The glaive thing was cool, but I didn't see any more than that. I didn't see a scythe. Actually, I really didn't. I want to see like a two-handed hammer or axe thing, just because I feel like those are godly weapons. I don't know.
You know what I wanted to see more than the weapons? Hey,
character designing?
No, well, kind of in that realm. I wanted to see the armor changing. Show me that armor can change. Show me, tell me if I have to wear a full suit of each different thing I pick up, or if it's individual part. Like, you could still use the music, man. Just show us what we needed to know. If I can mute your trailer and still be hyped, I'd be good. If I muted that trailer, if Spider-Man, right? I could mute the Spider-Man trailer, still be hyped. I could mute a trailer that is going to be coming up soon, and still be hyped. If I mute this trailer and I see what I saw, minimal hype. Yeah. It's like it basically was okay. So they confirmed that it's a slasher. At least they didn't confirm the loot part, but they confirmed it's a slasher. Neat.
Truth.
For me, if they don't show me enough, the closer we get to release, I'm just gonna go back and play Warframe. In all honesty, I'd rather play Warframe if it is gonna play like Borderlands, and if they're not gonna show my fear. Here's my fear. I fear that they didn't show a lot because they haven't developed enough.
It's holiday 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's gonna get pushed.
It's either gonna get pushed or it's gonna be poor. I'm kind of sure.
Or it's like they're working so hard they just threw in a video.
Yeah, that's true. That's also a possibility. I like how you're being hopeful about this, Francis.
Also, another
they
question.
Might have. Oh, sorry, Francis. Go ahead.
Oh, did anyone see Chain Dual Blades?
No.
Chain Dual Blades? No.
It was just like twin blades. That was all. Like an assassin's class kind of thing.
But that would have been cool, showing different weapons and armor.
Yeah, you're right. And honestly, I was watching that gameplay. I was getting like, oh, is this like a co-op version of God of War?
No, but yeah, that's the weird thing, because some of the way they were fighting felt like it definitely did have like that God of War, Soulsborne type of combat.
Yeah, like using the shield and stuff like that. I was just like, I saw that move in God of War.
Yeah, that was very interesting as well, because I was like, okay, it doesn't look like you can just turn your brain off and slash. Like, it looks like combat is engaging, which is good. I'm not upset about it, but it makes me question, is it going to be one of those fair games, or is it going to be, Soulsborne multiplayer?
Is it a farming game?
Yeah, so we'll like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm sure they're gonna do some like state of play where they talk about the game. Hopefully,
I'm still hyped, just nervous.
Yeah. I'm cautious hype. That's what it is.
It's cautious hype.
So this next,
what we want you to be.
Yeah.
So this next game, funny enough, I thought was going to be a sequel, and it turns out to just be its own game. I don't really know who the developer is, like if they're the same developer, but Solar Ash to me just looked like a new Fury.
Yeah, I agree. When you said that on stream, I was just like, yep, entirely.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Fury was a great looking, great sounding, and great playing game that I have yet to finish.
It didn't. It looked good. I didn't see much. I saw a little bit of jumping around, and when he started sliding, I was like, ooh, that's cool. Show me something new.
Where's the gameplay? Yeah. I mean, if it's an exploration type game where it's like you're just encountering, another
Journey.
Yeah, like if it was another Journey. Oh my gosh, I just realized there was a game I forgot to put on here. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh.
Yeah, don't worry. Oh yeah. But it felt like it was like you didn't really tell me how we're playing the game. It looks good. It sounds good. That's awesome. But what type of gameplay is it? Is it that rhythm style combat, bullet hell that Fury is? Or is it like Journey, where it's an exploration game where you're sliding across? Is it a combination? So, I don't know. It looks good. Am I going to play it? I don't know.
Was that the one where you were like a rocket?
No.
No.
Well, what interests me about Solar Ash is how they ended it, where the character walks up to like the cliff and then it like flips upside down and says Solar Ash. So I'm thinking, is there going to be some kind of mechanic with like maybe gravity or something? Like that'd be pretty cool.
And I think that's an interesting. Hey, again, show us some stuff, man. Show us some stuff. So before we get into the next game, I realize in my mistake, I forgot to add Jet to the game or to the list. Jet was the game that I thought was going to be like a new Journey, and it kind of looks like it is, but
it looked close. I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, it didn't catch me the same way that the aesthetic of Journey did, and honestly, it's one of those games where I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, Journey did this. I wasn't interested in Journey, but it looked beautiful. And that was the one thing that I want to go for engagement. So not so much just chill.
Yeah.
This trailer honestly just confused me.
It honestly, I was like, are we playing as a rocket? No. It looks like the rocket is landing. Are we going to explore? Nope. Back to rocket gameplay. All right. What about? Nope. Just a different rocket. All right.
We're colonizing.
It was weird. But that was
Jet. Were a UV.
Just so that way we didn't forget about that. Now, to another hype.
A big hitter, a swinger.
I've waited to hear about this because I had finally finished. So, for people who don't know, Hitman 3 confirmed. And the thing about it is, after I beat Hitman 2, because I thought Hitman 2 was just like, alright, this is the end. I didn't realize that there was a Hitman trilogy that they were setting up. I had no idea. I got to the end of the game, and I was just like, okay, we just did this. I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but I was like, we just did this thing. I'm with this person who has a major like relation to Agent 47. I was like, cool. Is there gonna be like, expansions that are gonna finish the story? Nothing. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm just done playing this game then. And then I saw IOI, and I was just like, it's over. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. The only thing, because if this isn't a PlayStation exclusive, it's not going to sell me on the PS5. But I'm super excited. More assassinations, more creative ways. I get to dress as probably like Clown again. Yo,
dude, Hitman was ridiculous with the outfits there.
With outfits,
you're missing out.
I played the first one.
You gotta, if you've played the first one, I think you'll enjoy the second one. The second one definitely has a lot more interesting levels for you to try to get around. Funny enough, very few people know I grew up with Hitman, and playing the new Hitman, playing Hitman 2, I was like, yes, this is that cool, because I'm not like a puzzle gamer. Like, I don't really like puzzle games, and so I like certain strategy games, but I'm very picky about them. And for Hitman, it's like, it's not necessarily mandatory stealth, because you technically could go guns blazing, but good luck actually surviving the encounter. But it literally is hey, this is your mission, do it however you want. There's suggestions on what you could do, or you could just walk up, shoot the guy in the face, and then walk away. Like, it's so much fun, because there's so much creativity to it. It's like Detroit Become Human, but with assassination, minus the multiple endings. And it's just, the fact that we're getting a Hitman 3, I'm super excited. I'm super jazzed about it. I would even, it's hard to say, like, I can't really say that one is more hyped than the other. Like, I can't say I'm more hyped for Spider-Man than Hitman, or, vice versa. But I'm just so glad to be able to be in the shoes of Agent 47 again. My only disappointment is that I feel like it didn't need to be a PS5 game. I can see why they're going to do it on PS5, and why they're gonna like push for PS5 experience, but from a visual and gameplay experience, I think it could still work on the PS4, but we'll just have to wait and see. I was just disappointed. He was like, yeah, we're going to show you a tidbit of gameplay. And I was like, yes! And it was basically just another mini trailer. And I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Where was the gameplay?
Like, that didn't feel like gameplay. Like, it was cool. Like, Dubai looked really good, but I was like, that didn't feel like gameplay.
Yeah.
Is this a Telltale game? What is this?
It was just like, I was like, because the thing for me, PS5, alright. I can understand it being on the PS5 because it means they can do larger worlds for you to like. Man, imagine assassinating in the Burj Khalifa, and you have to go from the ground up to the very top of the Burj Khalifa. That's sick. I'm salivating at the thought of the depth of places that you can explore. But yeah, I don't know about you. How do you guys feel about Hitman 3?
I enjoyed the Hitman game. Well, considering I only played the first one, I haven't played the second one yet, but I don't know.
Honestly, I was super shocked to see it. I was like, "Oh, Hitman 3! I forgot Hitman was a game."
Like I remember. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like I remember Hitman is there. Like I know I see it on sale too.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, the only way I've heard of Hitman was through Malik, and that was because he talked about it a lot. And then I remember when Deus Ex was a thing, and how someone compared Deus Ex to Hitman. They're like, "Oh, this is the new Hitman." I was like, "What? No, it's not."
No, those are very different
Those
games.
are
Sure,
completely
Deus Ex
different.
has stealth, but like that's very different.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Someone compared it. I was like, "What? No, okay." But I just remember it. I thought it died. I truly thought Hitman 2 was it.
No. Yeah, that cliffhanger they leave you... Well, cliffhanger? Yeah, I guess cliffhanger is technically the term. But the cliffhanger they leave you off with at the end of the second game, it was like, oh, we're getting a third game. But we hadn't heard anything from IOI until today.
I'm excited for it. The thing is, I like watching people play it.
Oh yeah, it is a great game to watch people play.
Like I've never liked playing Hitman, but I love watching other people play it.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always remember this one time I had 2 soda cans. I threw it at the guy across the room, and then I smashed the other guy in the face with it.
Yeah, dude,
the John Wick game.
The game is just so much fun. Or being like poisoning a muffin, and then having someone eat a poisoned muffin. They have to go to the bathroom, and you're just like, "Hey, guard, don't mind me. I'm just gonna walk into the bathroom, kill the guy, walk out. Yeah, don't mind me. The guy you were supposed to be protecting. Yeah, no, he's fine. He's totally fine. Mission complete. I'm heading out." It's like I love the Hitman games.
Like, can I make a statement here really quick?
No, there is no freedom of speech here.
I not allowed.
What's up?
Is Hitman for Agent 47, but not a Yandere.
Francis, you're banned.
No, because also when you think about it in Yandere Simulator, there's this Easter egg where you can be dressed up as Agent 47.
Francis, you're banned.
You could look like Agent 47 in Saints Row, but you don't see that happening.
But it makes perfect sense.
Oh my god.
Francis, you're banned.
Wow.
Also, speaking about something that's banned, for making me feel like an utter fool, can we talk about Astro's Playroom?
Oh my gosh, the Mario Odyssey clone. Like, it even has coins. Like, those coins are dead on Mario coins.
Can we talk about how it looks like such a budget? Like, it looks aesthetically like it's just Astro, but the way the coins seem to work, it looks like just a budget PlayStation game for no good reason.
I felt like they were trying to keep it alive. They were like, "Oh, let's throw Astro in there. That'd be fun."
I never understood, because the thing is, like, Astro has been an aspect of PlayStation since the PS3.
Correct.
And I never heard anyone roar in positivity about it. Like, I've heard some people say, like, yeah, it's actually not a bad game. But I'm like, but it's not PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of Sony's PlayStation, I don't think Astro. And it's like, if you're telling me that, oh, it's great because it's a great game for like young kids and stuff like that, I'm like, I could think of a million other games on the PlayStation that kids could play and be entertained by. That's not this. Why? I mean, I can't say I don't understand why it was here, because Astro is a PlayStation, it's a Sony PlayStation thing. But also, open the show with that. No one was grabbing onto their seat, grabbing their butts and clenching their tits for Astro's Playroom.
It felt like a Mario clone, honestly.
I mean,
yeah, to mention my tits.
Oh god, Francis, you're banned. But you're right. No, it was a Mario clone, because what did Sony want? Sony wanted to be able to just cash out. It looks like a cheap Mario clone at that they wanted to cash out on. And I'm not knocking on the development team. I think they did a fantastic job with the aesthetic of the game, but marketing wise, why are you here?
Yeah, no, I felt like a lot of the games that were shown on the PS5 event were more directed towards a younger audience. I truly felt like that's where it was. With the next couple of games we're going to be talking about, that's why I say that.
I wouldn't say a majority of them were, but there is a contention for that, yeah. Because the next one I wouldn't say was marketed for little kids. I think this one's cute and interesting. I might not play it unless it goes on sale. Then I may try it out, and that's Little Devil Inside. The one with like the master and the apprentice. I think it looks cool, but there's nothing there to grab me.
Definitely had some funny moments.
Oh yeah, I think that was from the trailer itself too. Like,
yeah. The F-bombs.
The toilet joke was actually hilarious. I don't laugh at poop humor, but that was the funniest poop humor I've ever encountered.
When that happened, I immediately thought of Francis.
That happened a lot during this event for me. I was just like, Francis. Francis.
Fun fact, I took a dump before this podcast.
Francis, you're banned! Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Why?
The thing with this game, though, is it's like, I feel like the trailer sets it up to be a really funny, interesting experience. I feel like the game itself it's going to be one of those games where they lead you in with comedy, and then it turns out to be something more serious. Like the same way that Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons was, where it's like, it looks adorable, and then you find out the game is a lot more serious and a lot more deadly than you thought it was. I'd be interested to see how people play, like what they feel from playing it, but yeah, no, you won't expect to see me playing it. But now this next thing, biggest news ever. Potentially the greatest game of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting 2K21.
I mean, yeah.
Greatest game of all time. Better than FF7 Remake? Don't at me.
Nah. 2K16.
2K16.
5 years ago.
But you want to know, here's the funny thing about 2K21. And it took me watching it twice. Because the first time I muted and completely ignored this trailer. Because I was just like, oh god, it's whatever. I just wanted to talk to chat. But I went back and watched it, and I noticed something that stood out to me that's kind of making me ask some questions. Is 2K21 going to be on the PS4? And the only reason why I asked that, 2K21 is slated to come out fall 2020.
In the fall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they always do that.
It says fall 2020. Now, here's my thing. PS5 event, right? You would expect that they'd showcase PS5 games, not games that you could play on the PS4. Here's an advertisement for a game you can play on your PS4 in the fall. I'm curious, because if this is coming out fall 2020, I doubt the console is dropping in the fall. I highly doubt it.
I see what you're getting at, though.
But if 2K21 is a PS5 exclusive, guys, that means that the console's meant to launch in the fall.
Or the late
That'd
summer.
be crazy.
Makes no sense, because all the games that like people are hyped for are coming out
holiday 2020, exactly. So I'm curious.
Or it's just 2K being greedy.
It could be 2K being greedy. It could, you know what? They can say fall 2020 and then just push it back. Or it could just be a PS4, PS5 game. Which goes back to the whole GTA 5 thing where it's like, you can play it on PS4 and you can play it on the PS5.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the GTA thing. It was like, PS4, was released, but GTA was just like, oh, we're going to move over there.
Yeah. And so it's like,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Either way, 2K should not have been there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm okay with it being there if the date it's releasing is for, indeed, the PS5. Because that's big. Like, that's really big. But if it's like, no, it's releasing on the PS4 fall 20... Or, other consoles in fall 2020. But when the X... Or not when the X, but when the PlayStation 5 drops, you'll be able to also play it. Like, it shouldn't have been there for that then. If that was the case, it should have said 2K21, playable on PlayStation 5, holiday 2020.
They didn't even show gameplay, like...
Yeah.
Why was it there? There was no gameplay, it was just video game Zion looking really good. That was it.
Yeah.
And they didn't really specify the date or, like, playable where.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't say where you can play it.
I think it's just 2K being 2K.
Probably. So
Like being an annual thing.
Yeah. I don't follow 2K games, but I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on talk with this one, because that's a big question. I haven't heard people mentioning it.
You did bring up a good point there.
Yeah.
It
Now,
seems so soon for it, though.
yeah, that's why I'm concerned. Now, this was probably the most disappointing thing for me that came, even more disappointing than Astro. Bug Snacks.
This was the game I was talking about earlier, by the way.
Bug Snacks. The trailer made me feel like an idiot. It made me feel like an idiot. What? I'm hyped.
I for sure thought I was getting played, and then like a Dead Space game was going to show up, murdering those creatures. But man, I was wrong.
Because like for me, I was thinking, I was like, okay, is this one of those? Because this is a trope with certain trailers. Is this one of those trailers where there's the cutie animals and creatures and and you find out it's a television show in a game where there's like demons and blood. It's Doom 2021, and it's like, that's what this is.
That's exactly what I thought was gonna happen.
and that's why I felt like an idiot, because the entire time I'm like, all right, PS5 event, full hype, crazy games, random trailers, Bug Snacks, and I was just like, the entire time I sat there and I was just like, so when are they going to show the actual game? When are they going to show the actual game?
Things were just happening on the trailer. I didn't understand it.
And then they, at the end of the trailer, tried to make it seem like, ooh, there's a looming threat. It's not all sunshines and spider...
Yeah, the trailer had a weird vibe, like they're trying to make it seem more sinister, because they made it darker, and then they had that thing that had just eaten too many things.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
And I'm just like, what is...
It didn't tell me much about the game, but gosh dang it, it's on my tongue.
It was one of the things where I was like, why are you showing this at a PlayStation 5 event?
Yeah, we said that a lot about games here.
What was that movie where it was about food?
Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs.
Chance of Meatballs.
No. It was rated R. It was food. And then people...
no, we're not talking about that. No, we're moving on. I'm not bringing up that movie.
Reminded me of that.
I don't need to be scarred again.
I'm not talking about that movie. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
After this disappointing, like this was like, Jesus, have I forsaken you? Have I done something wrong? Like, that's what Bug Snacks was. And then Sony was like, oh, we're sorry. We didn't mean to make you feel stupid. We're gonna hit you with hype after hype after hype after hype. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle your seats, grab your butts, clench your tits. We're telling you right now, Demon Souls is getting a remake. And Demon Souls getting a remake on the PS5, I'm not a Soulsborne fan, but I can tell you this. I love watching other people play these games, and this game looks like... We didn't see gameplay, but it looks good. It looks like it's going to be probably the best Soulsborne looking game since Bloodborne. And Bluepoint makes fantastic games, but I think this is potentially going to be them at their best. And I don't play these games, and funny enough, in the realm of films, I'm sick and tired of remakes for films. In the realm of gaming, these remakes have been hitting it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from Resident Evil 3 remake. But these games have been hitting it out of the park, and I'm so excited to see what they do with Demon's Souls remake. And they're not even calling it remake, they're just calling it Demon's Souls. Alright,
yeah.
I rock with it. That's hype. That's hype.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I feel like it's going to be a game that takes basically the hardware of the PlayStation 5 and just push it to its limit. It's like, oh...
I felt that with a different game on this list.
Oh yeah, no, there's another... Yes, like two... Honestly, everything except for the game after Demon's Souls, everything except for that one game felt like this console is going to get pushed to its limits.
Yeah, I felt like things are starting to get heavy on the wear and tear of my system if I buy it. And I was just like, I'm okay with that, because the more you push it, the better it's looking, the better gameplay I'm going to get out of it, and the more fun. This was the first step to that, in my opinion. I felt like that this was the game that was going to push it to the limit,
And if this isn't the limit, boy, I can't wait to see what the limit of the PS5 is.
I know. I'm so hyped for that solid state.
We need a new Monster Hunter to test it.
Wait, imagine what the gameplay of Diablo 4 would look like on the PS5.
I know.
So, yeah. But here, okay. So we had the hype, right? Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't really care about Deathloop.
Nope.
It's interesting. I find the concept interesting of this whole Edge of Tomorrow rival assassins thing, and it has that We Happy Few aesthetic. But I'm just like, okay, it's there.
They like the thing about, and I could have sworn I've watched videos and read up on this. Deathloop has been talked about for a while now. This is not new. Like, the developers have been, I think it's Ember Games, who made Deathloop. They talked about this game for some time, and it was just awkwardly placed. Like, this is an opener game that you show, but unless anyone has anything to say,
I don't.
All right,
not really.
Let's move on to the next super hype, probably more hype than Demon's Souls. The leaks are true. It's happening. Resident Evil Village. AKA RE8. They made Chris edgy.
Oh man.
And from what I'm hearing,
this game looks good.
From what I'm hearing, Chris Redfield might be an antagonist.
That's what I heard the rumors of too. And I think that means we're finally gonna get it. We're finally gonna get
Chris.
We're gonna hashtag kick Chris.
I feel we're finally gonna get it after this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because funny enough, like, Chris Redfield has been out of the spotlight of Resident Evil for some time now. Like
3 games, right?
Yeah, because he was referenced in 2 remake, when Claire was like looking for him, but that was just because it was a remake of an old game. But it's still like, yeah, Chris, but we don't actually see Chris. Resident Evil 7 referenced Chris. Actually, no, Chris was the one who came. So, spoilers. Chris came to save Ethan at the end of the game. And so, or at least you hear communication of him trying to come save him. And so it's like, Chris Redfield's coming back. The poster boy of Resident Evil is coming back. Oh, I mean, the quote-unquote American poster boy. The Americans, we want Leon Kennedy.
Yeah.
Leon.
But yeah, dude.
But this game looks scary. I like that.
It looks insane.
That's why, because I watched a brief trailer on IGN before this. Again, they announced it before, and I was just like, "What is this Village game?" Like all they said was Village, and I was just like, "What?" And then it said Resident Evil Village. I was like, "Hold on, I didn't even see Chris." And then PS5 just showed Chris.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a game."
Yeah. So don't play Resident Evil, but I for sure watch people play Resident Evil.
Oh man,
I cannot wait to watch people experience this game.
I want to.
So from hype to slight disappointment, but also a little bit of interest. This is interest in this next game.
It was
Unfortunately, Capcom presents, but not the game we were looking for.
yeah.
Yeah, Capcom's coming out with a new IP, Pragmata, which has the best cat in all of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best cat, hands down. A cat that I'm not allergic to. Yeah.
Exoskeleton cat, ghost.
Oh, that weird holographic cat. And
Yeah.
the weird little girl with the glitchy eyes. Okay.
Which I'm gonna say this. As soon as the girl became a playable aspect, I was just like, so they're basically looking at Sword Art Online and said, how can we do that, but in a serious game?
I got like
real Death Stranding vibes from it.
I was getting Death Stranding, Dead Space, and Last of Us vibes with the little girl.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm interested in it.
I have to say,
I like that I'm interested in this game.
yeah, I have to say, it seems like a more interesting and more absorbing version of Death Stranding. Like Death Stranding, I was like, just because Hideo Kojima is making it, I don't care. It looked confusing, but at least, and Pragmata looks confusing too, but Pragmata at least looks like you can understand potentially what's happening without that Kojima, everything is a mystery type of aesthetic to it.
There was one part I was like, wait, hold on, huh? What? Wait. Oh, okay. That's how I got during that trailer. I was a little confuzzled at first, and then it equaled up at the end.
Yeah, like for Pragmata, I think it's one of those games where playing it and discovering what happened in the past is going to play out a lot better than how Death Stranding did. As long as it's not, Amazon Simulator 2019. But the unfortunate thing is, and it's funny, Pragmata was one of the coolest looking games that we're gonna get later than any other game that was showcased here today.
Wasn't it January?
No, it's
2022.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, work on that guy.
So, yeah, but we are getting sooner than 2022, and it's potentially the best thing showed off at this entire event.
Deep breaths.
So, yeah, Horizon 2 is officially confirmed.
Woo!
Like, this trailer makes me want to go and actually play Horizon Zero Dawn.
Agreed.
Same. It looks so good.
And it's in San Francisco. Oh my gosh, like that shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I was like, yes!
Yeah. Like, as soon as Francis was just like, I can't tell you, you'll have to play it towards the end of the game. And I was just like, crap. Now I actually have an obligation to have to figure out what the heck is going on.
It's so beautiful. And they said the map is 5 times bigger or something like that.
Oh dear God! Oh
yeah,
5 times bigger.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a very large game.
Yeah.
The
map for Horizon Zero Dawn already is giant.
I think Aloy and Horizon Forbidden West are definitely going to be the trailblazers for PlayStation 5.
I think Witcher's map is definitely contested with this game. I 100% believe that.
The potential of the photo mode.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing.
And then they showed those elephant robots.
Yeah, because
the mammoth.
And it looks like you can ride it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But also the fact that we're seeing what looks to be like organic life, like organic animal life again, and it's like,
was there?
It looked like it. From my perspective, it looked like it.
It was. I could see where you saw that. Yeah.
And it's just like
it still looked like they were harvesting the machine still.
So I'm curious. The game has gotten me curious, and the thing about it is, because it's funny you bring up photo mode, because now anytime I play a game where photo mode is involved, I'm like, I wonder if Francis would actually enjoy this one. The thing about it is, Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4 has what in my opinion, is going to be the greatest, most in-depth photo mode ever. And with ray tracing, with the power that the PS5 is going to dish out, I feel like the photos are going to look as if you are basically working. Pixels. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be that you're taking a photo of a film in production. And it's a production film. And it's going to be high quality.
Francis, you okay over there?
It's his most hype. It's his most hype.
I feel it.
The hype has gotten to him.
I'm just hearing like
It
slow
looks
breathing.
so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it was the best looking trailer. And if that swimming section was actually gameplay and not like a guided gameplay where you actually can swim, if that's what it looks like when you play the game, my god, that is probably the best looking. Like it, Pragmata, and Resident Evil. No, even Dark like Demon Souls, but we didn't see gameplay for most of those. But those games are looking fantastic.
Oh yeah.
They all look so good.
They look
like especially for Resident Evil, it looked really good.
Yeah.
I will say though, for Horizon, I wonder what new mechanics they added.
I'm curious about that too.
That's what I'm curious about.
We'll find out.
So yeah, I think Horizon is definitely going to be the flagship that drives the PS5. For a lot of people, I think it's that. Did you buy a PS5? Yeah. What game made you buy a PS5? Have you heard of Horizon 2 Forbidden West?
I'm leaning on it.
It's dude. I'm telling you,
But I spent so much already.
You did good, Sony. You did good. But you didn't do your best. So moving towards the end of the show, this was a little something I wanted to talk about because on a personal level, it made me curious. And that's the studios, the multiple studios saying, welcome to PlayStation 5. There were some people, and I mean, I keep ragging on the fact that like Rebecca Ford was there, so that makes me keep talking. But there were other studios that they showed up and they were talking, they were welcoming us into the PlayStation 5, but their games weren't shown. And I'm just like, what are you guys hiding? What's coming? I don't know if my hype train can handle this load.
I agree. I felt like there was a hidden message in there, and we're getting like the low content. All the greatest stuff is coming.
Yeah, I feel like who said it? Francis, I think you said it, where you were saying that you feel like they're going to hold a bulk of a lot of the good stuff for when they talk about it at their own separate events or their own separate things. Yeah, I agree with you at this point. I think that the developers are going to hold their own showcase of, hey, here's a 30-minute like look at what we're working on.
Yeah, I mean, because also just seeing how the trend, like, shoot, BioWare, they didn't have, was there an N7 last year?
No. N7 Day was very disappointing last year.
And if your house was closer, it probably.
But they didn't talk about anything, right?
They didn't even do a thank you, I think.
Yeah, I think, that's why I'm leaning on the idea that they're just being secretive. They're hiding their stuff.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you're right. Like, if BioWare was working on something for Mass Effect, what would be more hype? During the PlayStation 5 event or during N7 Day? Same thing with Bethesda.
They could be saving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the timing, too. Like, let's say the PS5, like, opens Black Friday or something. The N7 would be, like, 3 weeks before that? And then the hype is there.
Yeah.
Like N7 Day, can you imagine Mass Effect, Contact Wars coming to PS5?
Yeah, dude.
At the same time.
Aren't we expecting like a different BioWare game though?
We don't know. BioWare's got a lot in the pot, so we don't know what's coming. But either way,
I'm pretty sure it's time for a Dragon Age.
Well, Dragon Age has been in the work as well. They teased Dragon Age. They haven't teased anything Mass Effect, but they did tease Dragon Age. But we'll talk about the teases in a minute. But for me, what was like the big, oh god, this is hiccups.
Wait, no.
Hiccups.
Oh, no.
I was just like,
the cost.
No. The idea of being able to play a PC level quality game on console, because I played my first experience with Warframe was on PC. It was a crappy experience. I had to lower all of the qualities of everything, and it was rough. And then I finally got to play on one of my suite mates' PlayStation 4s, and it was the most beautiful experience of my life. But it still didn't have the look, the aesthetic, the time that was put within the PC. And then, of course, now I play it on the Switch, because it's a lot more comfortable for me to do it. I can play it, wherever I have access to internet and things like that. And I'm just like, if they bring Warframe to the PS5, it brings up the question of, well, what about if it's on your PS4? Is there now cross-save? Can you move your PlayStation 4 account over to the PS5? What about your Switch account? What about your PC account? You know, there's so many questions. And this is from one developer. This is from Digital, and she's not even a developer. She's
about your Switch account, Malik.
We don't talk about the Switch account. we don't talk about the Switch account. But it's just interesting because she's a community manager. So the fact that you're seeing these faces from these developers, whether it's their community manager, their developers, anybody, Warframe from Digital Extremes on the PS5 is just one of hundreds of potential possibilities that can come from just the simple welcome to PlayStation 5. And I thought it was unintentionally hype. It was like an Easter egg hunt. It was hype for people who didn't hear from the developers they wanted to hear from. So I feel like the whole Warframe thing, we're gonna hear about it in August. I think that's when we're gonna hear about it. But anyways, speaking of welcoming the PS5, the PlayStation 5, the hardware, the accessories, the boy.
The memes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they meme so hard. I have to say,
there was a news story about it too.
I have to say this. From a designer's perspective, it's a 50-50. You either love the design, hate the design, or you're somewhere in the middle where you're like, I don't care, Xbox is going to win anyways. As a designer, I think this is the best designed console I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I love the look of it.
Yeah, it does look good.
It has a sleek design. It looks good vertical. This is the thing. It's the first time that Sony designed for both vertical and horizontal orientation of their console.
True.
It looks good vertical. My concern of it, can it be laid down on its side? You can lay it on its side.
They posted pictures.
Yeah, the photos are out there. Everything about it looks amazing. The only thing that I'm missing, from a visual standpoint, not from, like, information, the only visual I'm missing is what's on the back.
Yeah, they haven't shown that yet.
I need to know what's on the back. What does the power source look like? Because I can't remember which console it is, but there's one console that has like a very unique. It doesn't use the same two-prong power source like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One uses. I think it's the. Is it the Xbox One X uses a unique power source? I can't remember. But it's like, what power source are we looking at? Are we going to be using dual prongs? Are we going to be upgrading to a different cord for this? How many are there? Even USB
separate charging port for it?
Well, yeah, I'm like, I these are things I would like to know. What
the
are there?
360 had that square box that you had to lug around with it.
Yeah, like what are the USB ports like? Because are there multiple USB ports on the back? If they're not, is it going to be external USB accessible? Like, can I plug external USB devices for storage and stuff like that? You know, what there's so much hardware-wise.
They better not make that a cloud data thing.
And that's my concern, yeah.
Something I should also mention, I guess, is that I read something about the HDMI cord.
Mm-hmm.
Like a possibility that you might need a different type of HDMI. And then you'll end up having to get like even a 4K TV just to use it or something like that.
It's a accessibility that you can use, but you don't have to.
The SS something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the upgraded HDMI for quicker response.
Yeah.
It's kind of like with the PlayStation 3, how the PlayStation 3 allowed you to use component or HDMI. It's just it's basically the console saying you can use it at its lowest. Or if you wanted to bump it up and upgrade it, you can upgrade your visual output if you would like to.
Okay.
Because like people are talking about how Xbox Series X is pushing for like 8K visuals, and I'm like, that's not necessary. That's a little too much. But yeah, PlayStation 5 is here. What do you guys think?
She looks good, mate.
We still have the same questions.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So I saw an image recently that was comparing the two in a sort of a hardware kind of stance.
Mm-hmm.
And one like the Xbox had a lower version of something that the PlayStation had a higher version. I can't remember what it was, but there were numbers.
Probably teraflops.
Something like that. I don't know, but I was like, why? So they waited for Xbox to drop theirs, then they dropped theirs, but with better stuff. And I was just like, done on purpose. Okay. They still have the same sort of quality of graphic, which is that 4K kind of blah blah blah. There's a whole name for it. I completely forgot it already. But I mean, the specs for the Xbox looks cleaner. Like it looks like it's more manageable. As for the PlayStation, like Francis just said, like you may have to get a 4K TV to make this a full experience.
I mean, they said the same about the PlayStation 4, but I still play on a crappy flat screen that doesn't even give me the full screen experience, and it still works.
Gotcha.
Jesus, I play my PS4 Pro on my Cintiq.
Yeah,
Like,
and yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, some people with that full experience thing in mind, like I want my home theater to be my game theater.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe they got going on. I just feel like you have to get multiple things.
That's a personal preference though.
Yeah, and let alone the accessories that come with this. Pretty cool, but we've seen it before.
Yeah. In fact, I don't think we got the remote with the PS4.
There was a remote. I actually own it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember.
Don't use it.
I was like, I don't remember seeing it. I remember I had the PS3 remote, and that actually came in handy. But I was like, I got that when I bought the Hancock Blu-ray, so it was just like, no, I got it with Tron. That's what it was. I got it when I got Tron on Blu-ray.
Wait. You guys never used the one that came with it?
My PS4 never came with a remote.
Yeah, mine didn't either.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the remote was your phone. That's right.
Because the first PS4 that I got was a hand-me-down from Amazon. I didn't buy it straight out of the box. The PS4 Pro came straight out of the box, but it didn't come with a remote.
That's weird.
Plus, when you can control it.
Yeah, you can still control it with your phone.
I'm curious on what the accessories to the controller are going to be, because they put a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah, it looked like there was some emphasis.
Is that going to be an extra battery pack?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's to say? But the Bluetooth headset looked dope. That black and white tone with the console was cool. Now the digital versus the disc.
That's the big discussion.
That was a big thing.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
Because it's Sony doing the same thing Sony always does, which is we're gonna let our competitors do something, and they're either gonna do it good or do it bad, and we're gonna go based off of that. Because like Microsoft did that with the Xbox SAD, and there was a big controversy about you took out the disk drive, but you didn't add anything, like you didn't add any space. And I went back and I looked at stuff and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I feel like there's going to be the same issue with Sony and the PS5, because the thing is, they removed, you'll notice that the disk drive does not look, you'll notice this when you start to pay attention to the design of it, the disk drive was added, it wasn't taken away.
Yeah, because at first it looks like it was the digital.
Yeah.
And then it was bulked up closer to the belly of it to fit the disk drive in it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So the version without the disk drive is just going to be cheaper. I don't think they'll add space to it, honestly.
That's the thing is, I hope it is. I hope it is cheaper, because if it's not cheaper, then it feels bad. It feels really bad.
Like, if it's not cheaper, then it has to have at least double the space.
And that's what I was thinking too, right? I was like, if it's not cheaper, it's going to have more space. But you know what would have made me think that it would have had more space? If the bulk of where the disk drive was still there. And it's not. So that's what was concerning to me, is I was like, ooh, designer brain, do your thing. Like, actually realize the obvious. And I was just like, oh God, I'm kind of concerned for that. And of course, price is a thing, but we could speculate price all we want. They could surprise us out of nowhere. So there's no there's no way that we can really know any of that. But I'll say this, from a hardware accessibility standpoint, and this is like a personal thing, and I think a lot of PlayStation users who have this device will say the same thing. I need this thing to work with my Vita. I need them to update the Vita software to be compatible with the PlayStation 5, because it feels bad that you're done with the handheld support, and the one handheld that potentially could have been amazing would only be able to support PS3, PS4, and not PS5. Because at that point, it's a dead handheld. Like, yeah, it's going to have my games on there, but it's not accessible to my console anymore. So I know from a personal standpoint, that's something that I'm hoping to hear something about. I most likely know I won't, but we'll see. But,
I'm excited for it, but I don't think I'll be getting it on launch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, let's transition into that. So, top highlights and overall feelings. We'll go person to person. So, Francis, what would you say was your top highlight from the showcase, and what were your overall feelings about the show?
I was kind of not counting the highlights, I was kind of mad about it. Like, it was there to watch, gave me something to do.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. I like that snack one.
That makes one of you.
Anyway, my highlights were obviously Spider-Man, Horizon, and then Hitman.
Okay.
And then obviously the PS5 reveal.
Well, yeah.
But other than those were pretty much the only ones that I'd be interested in, like, getting.
Okay.
But yeah.
John, what were your highlights and overall feelings?
So my highlights were Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, Sackboy, Destruction All-Stars was pretty good. I like that. Some complaints. I truly feel like they could have changed up the pattern of when they like how they were showing games. Like, the marketing seemed. I'm a business major. This is what I look at most entirely, is how they were presenting the games and stuff like that. And like, the overall idea of this was to sell me the PlayStation 5, to buy it at its release. It did not do that. I truly felt like if you wanted to throw the hype games all the way at the end, you do that. You start off with the stuff that works your way up to the hype games, and they did not do that. And I truly feel like they missed out on a lot of good vibes from the console. So I just feel like, I mean, you threw your best card at the beginning, and even now it's talked about as a DLC. Not its actual game, when it should be its actual game. Miles deserves that.
I did actually read something that it's a standalone game.
Yeah, it's.
But we're also hearing stuff that it's a DLC.
Yeah, we're hearing conflicting stuff. So it goes back to the GG meme. Rumors and gossip, nah. Actual live, post, yes. So we'll just have to wait.
So from a business aspect of this, I was disappointed on presentation. It did not. I'm definitely not going to be getting this at opening, like on the release, and it makes me feel bad. But also, it is what it is. But the overall feeling, I mean, I feel like the order could have done better. They could have done better with the order. So
yeah,
that's my. I really liked some of the games they announced. I was like, yes, bring them to me. But order matters in my opinion sometimes. So
yeah. All right, and then Santi, what were your highlights and overall feelings?
My highlights: Spider-Man, Oddworld, Soulstorm. Super hyped. Definitely my most hyped. My biggest highlight was that game. Horizon. I want to see Pragmata, but that's gonna be a long time before we see anything about that, really. I'm probably not gonna get this console launched unless there's just something that's just insanely hyped that comes out between now and holiday season. I don't think I'll be getting on launch. I wish they would have shown more games that was like pushing the console to its limits, instead of like the Volcano High one, like Astro's Playroom. There were a bunch of games I felt that didn't need to be on there when the whole point, like John was saying in the presentation, is to sell the PS5.
Yeah.
And only like maybe half of those games really did that.
Mhm.
Exactly.
If I may add, I'm gonna say something I also said in the stream.
Mhm.
I think this was just their chance to reveal it. Like, they didn't really plan on selling it, they just wanted to reveal it.
Yeah.
Because
Fair
if they were
point.
planning to sell it, they would have shown the price too, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Not entirely. I don't.
But
think
here's
so.
when it comes to the price, it's a race game, because if Sony announced like on Thursday that the PS5 is going to cost, $499 or $599, then Microsoft could just be like, "Cool, Xbox Series X, $399."
Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
$399.
Yeah. Or or
Each other for
$450.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, go ahead, Francis.
Knowing the history between Microsoft and Sony, they're gonna keep doing that.
Yep.
And
Oh,
now
yeah.
they're just gonna wait for each other.
It's a business thing. That's all
That's
it
the
is.
glory. That's the glory of business.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Competition.
We know their plans.
Eternal footsies.
Yeah, that's right. But my thing with yes, I believe they were trying to sell us the console with this presentation, because like trying to give everybody a new car. Well, not give everybody, but like show everybody a new car, like the new Tesla or something like that. You show highlights of driving, right? And this is their highlights of driving. So I do believe this was their presentation at showing what their system could do.
I think if they just want to do a reveal, they would have just revealed the console, not shown any games.
Exactly. I felt like order mattered, and they lacked on that. So
Yeah. And I mean, for me, with my highlights, of course, Spider-Man, Miles Morales is one of the top highlights from this. Destruction All-Stars was a surprising highlight that I wasn't expecting to actually be like excited for. But I'm glad I can get excited for a game that's completely new and that it's not, something pre-established. Hitman 3, of course, up there with Spider-Man of, being one of the most hype. And then, of course, just the console reveal itself. Santi and John, you guys talked about like the business aspect of like how they laid out the presentation, issues with the layout, and I don't really want to like echo that, but what I would like to talk about is what wasn't, because from a marketing aspect, how it was laid out was poor, yes. What was also poor, and I wouldn't say that this is Sony's fault, as it is more, it could be a combination of Sony and the developers. My overall feeling is that it was a reveal of stuff that didn't need an event to be revealed, because we were missing essential games that needed to make this the PlayStation 5 event. We didn't have anything God of War 2 related. We didn't have anything Bloodborne or Bloodborne 2 related. We had absolutely nothing from Final Fantasy. Still haven't heard squat from Elden Ring. Silent Hill is still absolute bupkis, even though we know it's being worked on. And GTA 6, instead of it being teased, we got GTA 5 on the PS5. And then, in addition to that, Francis mentioned something of the sorts of like Bully 2 not even being like Rockstar not showing anything. To me was an addition to the disappointment, where it felt like all of these could literally have just been trailers that they like. Some of the PlayStation exclusive, like some of the stuff like Spider-Man, Resident Evil, Horizon, Demon Souls, Godfall. These are things that could have been bundled into like a PlayStation event, but a lot of these other trailers could have potentially just been their own thing.
And not a single fighting game.
Yeah, and that was the biggest disappointment for me walking out of this, was there was something for everyone except for shooters, puzzle players, and fighting gamers.
Yep.
Because I don't think there's any game here that's strictly a shooting, and I don't mean strictly like Call of Duty. I mean like there was nothing FPS related at all.
The Assassin one or Deathloop, because that has
Deathloop, yeah, but it's like co-op or competitive first-person shooter. Heck, we don't even know if things, and I hate saying this coming out of my mouth, but we don't even know if something like Fortnite or Apex is coming over to the PlayStation 5. So nothing for first-person shooters or battle royale fans. And then yeah, not a single fighting game. It could have just been a simple, this game will be playable on PlayStation 5. None of it.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into the next point, which is, PS5, Xbox, Series X, or neither. And for me, as hype as Spider-Man, Hitman, all these games that they showed here, on Thursday, as hype as those games are, I feel like I'm going to get a much happier experience playing the older games from my Xbox One on the Series X. Playing Killer Instinct with higher fidelity. Playing The Witcher with higher fidelity. There's so many stories. Nier Automata on the Xbox One being able to be played on the Xbox Series X with compatibility. Using my old tech from previous console generation to modern generation. I feel like I would like to get one if financially willing, I can get one at launch. Even with their problems, I would like to get one. I feel like for me, it would be still Xbox Series X. Sony has not pressed the button to make me say, sorry Xbox, sorry KI, I'm going back to Sony. And it's unfortunate. And this was the show that could have done that, but it was missing and it was unorganized in a way where it was just like, I feel like it's a reflection of what the console is going to be like at launch. Messy, unorganized, and a lot of problems. But what do you guys think?
Uh,
I mean, you guys kind of already echoed it though, saying that you're not going to get the console at launch, but it sounds like
And
it sounds like you guys are leaning more towards if you had to get one, getting the PlayStation 5, but just later.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll get it eventually because I got the PS4 eventually,
Mm-hmm.
and I know my dad will most likely get the Xbox Series X eventually.
Yeah.
yeah. I think eventually I'll get the PS5. I don't think I'd get the Xbox because I have PC.
Mm-hmm.
And I can hold off on getting the new system because of the PC, just because I feel like I do already have that quality type of game. So I'm on the neither right now.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's kind of the same for me. Like, I didn't get the PS4 on launch. I would think I waited like a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got it. So I kind of might do the same.
Yeah. Like for me, I think the decisive factor is if I can't play my PS4 games on PS5, why would I upgrade to a console when I'm going to most likely come back down a generation to play what I want? And it's kind of the same with the Series X, where it's like, say I do end up getting the PS5, I'm not going to feel bad for the Series X because I can still play all of these great games on the Xbox One. I think both for Sony and Microsoft, they just need to hit the button. They need to do the thing that's going to blow everyone's mind. And they're going to say, okay, I have no choice but to buy this console. Because that's the thing. Right now, it feels like we still have a choice. And I think until Sony and Microsoft do something that's very like, okay, I have no choice anymore in the matter, no one's going to really have that much hype for either of the consoles.
I think for me, that button would be BioWare announcing like Mass Effect, something like Contact Wars exclusively on PS5.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, I think the button definitely will come from exclusivity.
That's why I was gonna bring that up again. That's why I think it'll come down to their own events.
Yeah. Well, the thing with PlayStation is they, especially since E3 of last year, they've been kind of meh when it comes to reveal events. And Microsoft could pull it off, but at the end of the day, it's got to come down to exclusives, and it's got to come down to something no one was expecting, or at least something that everyone was like. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If Marvel 4 ever does get announced, and they say it's exclusive to one console or the other, that console wins. Straight up, the console wins. Because that's the situation I just was talking about. You're forcing me to not have a choice. I have no choice. My most anticipated game, aside from FF7 Remake, and you mean to tell me that I can only play it on one console? Alright, you win. You win. But I'll close out. Yeah, but I'll close out on this. It's one of the funniest things I pointed out, and I don't know why this is the case, but like from a design perspective, it's very weird to see this. I love how Microsoft and Sony kind of met at the demilitarized zone, and we're just like, okay, we're gonna switch main colors now.
Yeah,
That was funny.
They were just like,
hey, can I get the color white as long as I get the color black?
yeah. I was
I
just
copy
like,
your homework.
yeah, it's like, hey, can I get the answers? Yeah, just don't make it look like mine. It's just so.
Congratulations, Xbox.
It's so weird. The fact that I have 3 generations worth of PlayStations, they're black, so I'm expecting, and that's why I'm like, okay, maybe if they sell the PlayStation 5 in black, there we go. Maybe if they sell the Xbox Series X in white, okay, there we go. Like, please do that. Like, don't do this. Don't get me mixed up.
Pink.
Because, like, literally, I'm looking at my PS5, or PS5. I'm looking at my PS4 with the Xbox One controller on top of it, and I'm like, yeah, this is awkward. That would be very awkward. But anyways, I think that's all that we've really got. This is definitely the first time in a long time we've had an extensive podcast like this. But with something like this, you kind of need to. You just need to take the time. You gotta talk it out.
Yeah.
Any of you guys have any closing remarks?
No.
It's their own events.
I am curious to see where this goes.
Yeah. I think for me, at the end of the day, this is just a good example of you just got to be patient. You got to be patient. They gave us what we asked for. They showed us what the console looks like. Now everyone's going to get greedy and be like, now tell me this and tell me that and tell me this and show me that. And at this point, it's like, just be patient. Keep playing the games you love. Keep staying safe. And eventually, both Sony and Microsoft are going to both disappoint us. So, there you go. Alright, well, thank you so much for everyone who listened today. Can't wait to see what the future of gaming looks like. I was going to pull out my shades. I was going to wear my sunglasses because the future was going to be so bright, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm really glad I didn't.
How old, man?
But anyways, this has been the Gauntlet of Gaming. My name is Malik.
Francis.
John.
I'm Santiago.
And never forget that these hands are rated E.
For everyone.
Bye.